Hello, everyone. My fellow citizens, honestly, what is happening in the country? This is not how to live in a country. Yesterday night, I was devastated. I watched the video that had been put out by Sahara reporters. And this video, it was said to be a church in Kwara State where some armed men came in. People were sitting down, worshiping quietly, minding their business. And all of a sudden, terrorists came out and came in. And you will see these people. There's nothing that looks like organization. There's nothing that looks like something that will defeat our military. We are being hunted in our country. And this is not the way to live life. This is not the way to live. You see people running away, frightened. Look at the old woman who had lived in Nigeria all her years, who should be in a place where she's resting, taking care of herself, worshiping peacefully, going home peacefully, waiting till the end of life. She's having to run because she's being haunted like a human being. And the most heartbreaking part of it all, of course, she couldn't run. She had to be walking slowly. Look at the things that came in, hunting down people, packing bags, stealing. Where is the security? The primary responsibility of any government is the protection of lives and properties of its citizens. Any government that cannot protect the lives and properties of its citizens is not fit to be called a government. There is no government in Nigeria. We are being killed, we are being hunted. Nothing matters to them. The only thing they care about is politics. Who is joining their party? Who they can get in, that's all their matters. Their achievement is that they will have all governors in their party. They will have one party in this country. And we're sitting down, we're looking. When they finish hunting those in the outskirts, those in villages, they will come after every one of us. We will be hunted on the streets. We've been shouting these things for years. People think that, it does not concern them, or one, it's about whoever is in office or whatever. This is not the time for partisanship. This is not the time for political parties. This is not the time for who you support, what your tribe is, what your religion is. This is the time for humanity. This is the time for us all to rise with one voice and say enough is enough. We are not animals and we should not be hunted like animals. Even animals who are in the bush that are being hunted, they have enough space for them to hide. Did you watch that video? Did you see people running and nowhere to run because they were in an enclosed place where they're supposed to feel safe? There's a reason why we build shelter. There's a reason why we have something covering us. We build shelter for us to be there, to feel safe, not to be hunted like animals. Look at the things that came in. Look at the things that came in. Attacking people, packing bags, stealing, looting. That's what they were doing, packing bags. Say the one that was hitting the car for crying. I'm not gonna put this. I was so enraged watching that. I'm not going to put that video out there, but we'll put the link in the description for you to go and watch it and see. That's the most heartbreaking thing. Yet we have people in the different offices. We have people in the different offices not minding, not caring, going on. Kwara State used to be one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. It used to be one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria where you didn't have any of this happening. There are few states in Nigeria that had that. Kwara was one of them. All of a sudden, attacks have started in Kwara. People are being killed. People are being massacred. What is going on? And yet, you don't hear anything from the Kwara State government. Yes, we know that security, based on the way the security architecture of Nigeria is, it is not the state government that is going to protect. But has the state government amplified? Has the state government come out to cry and say that their people are being killed? People are being killed all over Nigeria. What concerns these people and who it is that is going to come into their party? 25 girls, that's what we told. We don't even know whether they are more than that. Were abducted from a school in Maga, in Kebbi State. That same day, The so-called presidency decided that they were going to carry people and send them and send the illegitimate vice president for him to go to a local jail and go and welcome a decampi. Decampi is what is in their business. We cannot continue like this. We cannot continue to be animals. We cannot continue to be hunted. We are Nigerians. We are citizens. We are human beings. We are not animals that will be hunted for sport. If you look at that video, that was what all those ragtag things were doing, hunting animals, that people down as if they were animals. Everybody has a right to be anywhere, worship the way they want to, do what they want to do, be whoever they want to do. They should be protected by the state. That is why we gave up of our sovereignty. Dear Nigerians, as much as we want to think that politics is not the matter, politics is everything. Politics is how we decide the people who are going to safeguard our lives. We've been putting people into office who don't care about our lives, who care only about what they are going to loot, what they are going to get, how they are going to oppress us, how they are going to use security agencies on people. Security agencies are busy guarding individuals and their families, leaving the rest of us out there, vulnerable, being out there, being treated as if we are nothing. We are citizens, we are not slaves. We are citizens, we are not animals. And no matter how much, even if they don't want us to be citizens, we must remember we are citizens. The fact that they think we are not citizens does not mean that we would not think of ourselves as citizens. I've seen a lot of people who say, no, Nigerians, we are not citizens. We should not call ourselves citizens. Yes, they do not see us as citizens. Yes, they do not treat us as citizens. Yes, they don't think we are up to, but we must see ourselves as citizens. That's the only way we will fight for ourselves. That's the only way we will protect ourselves. That's the only way we will stand for ourselves. All of this nonsense has to stop. We cannot continue like this. We cannot be animals in our own country. We cannot sit down every day. We are being hunted down. People are being killed left, right, and center. This is not about religion. This is not about tribalism. This is not about political affiliation or partisanship. This is about humanity. Every Nigerian life is not safe. We all are being killed, and we have kept quiet long enough. We are being killed. We're being massacred. There is genocide everywhere in Nigeria. We've been saying it. We've been shouting it. But yet people think that it's none of their business because they think that they are safe. Nobody is safe. As long as one person is not safe, we all are not safe. Are we going to wait until this ragtag things, this terrorists come and be on the streets and take over and gun us down? That's when we're going to hold people we are supposed to protect our lives accountable. Are we going to sit like this and do nothing? This cannot continue. This cannot continue. We are human beings. We are not animals. We are being hunted down. And enough is enough. And let me tell everybody, for those of you who think your prayers are saving you, if it's not foolishness, have you not seen that they enter churches and mosques and every praying places and they kill people? Those prayers will not stop bullets because God has given us the capacity for us to protect ourselves. They are coming to hunt us down like animals. Soldiers that are supposed to be protecting us are protecting lands. Soldiers that are supposed to be protecting us are protecting human beings. Soldiers that are supposed to be protecting us are nowhere to be found. This has to stop. And let me tell every one of you, yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors. And tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. The question I ask, who is next? Will you be the one? Will I be the one? Let's ask ourselves.